Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to look at a fascinating teaching about. Again, I'll give away the end at the beginning, and it's about what it means to do spiritual practice, or how do we do spiritual practice from the Jewish spiritual tradition. So, and we're going to compare spiritual practice as we commonly know from popular culture, which is influenced by Eastern practices, Buddhism, Hinduism, and yoga, etc., which has been westernized and popularized, and we know those using the terms of mindfulness, meditation, contemplation, contemplative practices. We also know physical, embodied practices such as yoga, tantric yoga, yoga asanas. Then there's Tai Chi and contemplative movement, etc. We also know about, we talk about stress management, and from Eastern traditions, we learn about the concept of slowing the mind, calming the mind, emptying the mind, find a place of calm and peace inside, right? So those are common parlance in our culture. It came to us especially during the 1960s from the East. The Beatles were very instrumental in popularizing Eastern meditation, and obviously there were many teachers who came from India, from China, from Japan, from Tibet, etc. So one of the questions that those of us who are born Jewish, whether we had the benefit of extensive Jewish education through yeshiva system or other systems, and or not at all, we're just sort of ethnically or culturally Jewish. For many of us, including myself, as we've been exposed and have experiences the Eastern spirituality, yoga, meditation, etc., we then ask the question of what of that kind of experiential, that sort of really body felt and mind felt and heart felt practices come from our own tradition? What is the equivalent? What is the meditation practice in the Jewish tradition? And the answer eludes us a little bit, but today we'll jump into a bit of a Torah commentary by the Sfat Emet, a great Hasidic Rebbe, Ger Rebbe actually, of the late 19th and early 20th century. This is the text I'm going to read is in this book. It's a translation of Sfat Emet, the language of truth, by the book itself is authored by Rabbi Yehuda Leib Alter of Ger, who was, I believe, in Warsaw of the end of the 19th century. And it's translated in commentary by Rabbi and Dr. Arthur Green, one of my teachers and heroes. So thank you, Rabbi Green. And let us jump in to this commentary on Parshat Bechukotai, this week's Parsha. And here we go. Im Bechukotai telechu, Vaikra Kavav Gimel. And it translates, if you will walk in my laws. And that's very literal translation. You could also perhaps translate it as if you will follow my laws. So, Piresh Rashi, Nitorat Kohanim, Rashi, the great 11th century Bible and Talmud commentator, in his commentary on the book of Vayikra, book of Leviticus, he interpreted this phrase, if you will walk in my chukotai, in my laws, to mean liot amelim b'Torah. It means to be laboring in Torah or in the study of Torah, right? Zeu nikra amel b'Torah, lahaloch b'chukav yitbarach. And this is, here the Torah is defining what it means to be laboring in Torah. The Torah says it means, uses the term, to walk in my laws. In whose laws? In the Holy One's laws. Blessed be. Lachen afilu eino mevin. Therefore, even if a person, he or she, does not understand what he or she is reading, mikol makom me'ageh atzmo b'Torah. Nevertheless, he or she are exhausting. Me'ageh, it's a beautiful word. Yageh means tired. So we're exhausting ourselves in Torah. We're doing it all the way, right? Shechaviv be'enav lahagot b'ma'amaro yitbarach, as it is delightful. Shechaviv be'enav, it's delightful in his or her eyes. Lahagot b'ma'amaro yitbarach, to contemplate the word of the Blessed One. Afilu she'eno zocher asigatam, even if at the end he or she does not merit to understand the meaning of the words the text being studied. So that's, that is a very, it's making a very clear explanation, clarification of what the nature of laboring in Torah, and I'm going to call this endeavoring in Torah. Many other words I can describe it, and you'll see it gives us a really nice, kind of colorful understanding of this concept, of this practice. To endeavor in Torah means to tackle it, but not necessarily care of whether we win or not. In other words, we're not doing it for the end result of understanding, of knowing this well. We're doing this for the process itself, not for the result at the end. Ki haTorah ne'elma mi'enei kol chai. And here he's quoting Job, who said, the Torah is hidden from all eyes. V'adam tzarich la'asok b'Torah, and a person needs to busy themselves with Torah, or the study of Torah, achar ha'yedi'ah, even after they know, she'if shar la'asig echad mini elef sheba, that one cannot attain but 1,000th of it. The most anyone can attain, now get this, this is the geniuses among us, can attain 1,000th of what is there in the Torah. And when a person busies him or herself with Torah, even though we know that we can at best attain 1,000th, then gain a portion in the root of Torah, the spiritual root of Torah. Strong words, and beautifully said. And let's continue here with commentary by the Maharal, Rabbi Yehuda Leib of Prague, who's a 16th century great sage, mystic, wrote the story, The Golem, was the Golem of Prague, is a story about Rabbi Loew. It's a great tale about how he applied his Kabbalistic powers to actually create an avatar a real life human that he then destroys, etc. We're not going to get into the whole story, but he was a great both political leader of the community, but somebody who also was deeply immersed in Jewish spirituality and was a high evolved master as such. And he says, "Lachen shemevarchim la'asok b'divrei Torah." That is why the blessing before we study Torah is thank you, God, for the practice of to busy oneself with words of Torah. La'asok is a sweet word because it sounds like to soak. La'asok, to soak. So to soak oneself in words of Torah. So why is the blessing to soak oneself or to busy oneself or to labor in the words of Torah and not thank you God for the practice of understanding Torah or accomplishing the study of Torah or any other angle of the study of Torah? Hagam she'no yachol la'asig mikol makom osek b'Torah. Even though a person is not able to comprehend the fullness of Torah, nevertheless, he or she does that. וכך הוא תמיד בזוהר הקדוש, לאשתדלה באורייתא, להשתדל בתורה. And also in the Zohar, the reference to studying Torah is not to study Torah, but to effort in Torah. So what are we learning here from the Zohar, from the Maharal, from Rashi, from Job? While this sounds conceptual and philosophic and sort of a smart parsing of a redundancy that happens at the beginning of the parsha says, "In bechukotai telechu u'mitzvotai tishmoru." If you walk in my laws and observe my instructions, then all these good things will happen to you. It says, "V'natati gishmechem beitam," and the rains will fall in your time, and many blessings will come to you. So Rashi, the original question, the original parsing is, Rashi asks, why is there a redundancy? Why does it say if you walk in my in my laws and observe my instructions? And Rashi says, why the duplication? Why redundancy? And what does it mean to walk in laws anyway? We don't walk in laws. We obey laws. We abide by laws. But what's this walking in laws, right? So his question is, what does it mean to walk in laws? And why the redundancy? It doesn't have to say twice. It was enough to say, if you fulfill my instructions, then all these blessings will come. He says, because the Torah is trying to teach us something here. And that is that walking in laws means to study the Torah, not necessarily fulfill the Torah. And how do we study Torah? We labor at it. We endeavor in Torah, whether or not we can comprehend what we're learning. So there's two very deep and useful messages, I believe, for us that inspire me, and I hope it inspires you too. One is, it enough to just obey the Torah? Is it enough to just have a behaviorist kind of Judaism? The Torah says, don't kill, I don't kill. The Torah says, give charity to the poor, I give charity to the poor. The Torah says, eat matzah on Passover, so I eat matzah on Passover. Simon says, right? Simon says, put your hands on your head. Simon says, put your hands on your shoulders, right? God says, eat only kosher animals. So I eat only kosher animals. Is that enough? And the sages help us understand that no, it's not enough. One needs to not only do the Torah, but one needs to labor, endeavor in understanding the Torah, opening up the secrets, learning the deeper meanings, soaking in it, immersing in it. Okay, well, one may ask, so I soak in Torah. Sounds poetic, sounds beautiful, I'll understand. Perhaps there's wisdom in there. Is that enough? And then the sages teach us the second part. And that is that contemplating Torah, studying Torah over and over and over again, whether I get to completely comprehend what I'm learning or not, is in itself the practice. That is the meditation. The meditation is the contemplation of the narrative of the Torah over and over and over and over again, understanding it in different and more and new and multiple ways. And in fact, that's what happens as we read the Parsha year after year. Every year I read Bechukotai, I read the same Parsha. Every year I learn something new. In fact, this is what I'm learning new this year. And here's what I want to leave us with. When I studied Eastern meditation, which I did in my youth, I grew up, I have a Jewish background. I'm not going to get into, it's immaterial what my background is. I'm somewhere on the spectrum from the nothing to the everything, right? There's those of us who grew up completely cultural and, barely know what the word matzah means. And, there are those who, just don't know. They didn't have the benefit. If you came from the Soviet Union and where it was forbidden, or you grew up in a family that was completely atheistic and that was not into organized religion, and they did not want to give you any kind of religious instruction, or whether you went to yeshiva and you could know the Torah back and forth. Whatever your background is, for those of us who had a taste of the kind of general spirituality that comes to us in the West, it comes to us from the East. It's the influences of yoga and meditation and Buddhism and Hinduism and the Tao, and just amazing wisdom that comes from the East. When I was exposed to yoga and meditation, I was taught a mantra meditation that had a Sanskrit mantra. And I was taught the mantra, I was taught how to focus, I was taught how to close my eyes, how to scan my body, how to repeat my mantra over and over again, and when my thoughts would distract me, how to come back to it, and how to breathe. And the technique is very, very powerful. I went to deep places with that Sanskrit meditation. Sanskrit. But when I started learning the Jewish spiritual wisdom that comes from millennia of contemplating Torah, what I realized and what I practice is that the study of Torah, what Rashi calls Amel B'Torah, the endeavor, what the Zohar calls Ishtadleta Be'oraita, L'ishtadel B'Torah, what the Maharal refers to La'asok B'divrei Torah, as it is in the Bracha, to soak oneself, to busy oneself in Torah, is a meditation with a very long mantra. The mantra goes from the very first word of the Torah, from Bereshit, Genesis, all the way to the end of the Torah, to Israel. Very long mantra that as I contemplate, as I soak myself, as I fill my mind and my emotions and my curiosity and my spiritual yearning. I fill it with words of Torah. I go as deep as I can. I don't want to compare. I don't want the dualism of, they do this and we do that and who's better. None of that. I got a lot from Eastern practices. But when I walk in my Jewish path, the Chukotai, and I'm studying Torah with that attitude that it's not for gain, it's not for understanding, it's not for comprehension, but it's for the sake of the study itself. It's for immersing. Imagine jumping into a pool of water and you know how it feels like, and you're swimming, you're diving into the water, and the water washes over you, and it's just this delight, this cleansing, this fun, this vigor, this alive sense of being immersed in the cool water of the pool or the lake. Even better, imagine out in nature, and there's this trees on the bank, and you're somewhere in the mountains, and the whole experience of just immersing into life itself. Now imagine study Torah with that mindset, in that state of mind, where every droplet of water is a letter of a word of Torah. And I'm swimming in it, and I'm allowing it to wash over me. And now I allow it to touch my heart, and I allow it to touch my mind, and I allow things to shift. I am allowing insight to emerge. And I'm connecting with Torah, with myself, with generations, with the divine. And that is the meditation practice that comes down from the Jewish legacy. May we so be blessed to spend a lot of time in that delicious place. Truly. And thank you for sharing these words of Torah with me today. I am grateful to you that through teaching you, I could learn and understand something new. And I hope that you got something new that will make your life bigger and your swim in Torah, in life, and in whatever pond you choose to jump into more delightful. Rabbi Reuben Modek with Makom Halev Community here in Nyack, New York. Makom Halev is Hebrew for a heart center, a heart space. And also I want to mention our awesome educational program, Hebrew Learning Circles. You can check us out on the web, HebrewLearningCircles.org or makom-halev.org. Please, if you're in the New York area, drop by or drop a note. Otherwise, let's keep the conversation going. Would love to hear your thoughts on and experiences with Jewish meditation, with other meditation. Leave comments below, like us, and come back for more. For now, shalom.